The town of Silverdale was a beautiful place, surrounded by green hills and old buildings. In the center of the town stood a library that had been built over 100 years ago. It was said that its walls held many secrets, but the most mysterious legend of all was the tale of the disappearing castle on the outskirts of town. In the sunny town of Silverdale, there was always an atmosphere of adventure. This was where Barbie lived, a kind, brave, and incredibly curious girl. She shared her home with her younger sister, Chelsea, a cheerful and clever girl who dreamed of becoming a real detective. And then there was Ken, Barbie's best friend, always ready to help and support her in any adventure. Barbie, Chelsea, and Ken were sitting on the cozy terrace near Barbie's house, enjoying freshly squeezed lemonade. "Imagine this," Chelsea said dreamily, swinging her legs in the air. "If I were a detective, the first mystery I would solve would be that castle. They say it disappears every night," Ken said thoughtfully, adjusting his sunglasses. "But I'm sure there's a logical explanation for everything." Barbie smiled, but her thoughts were interrupted by an unusual rustling sound from the mailbox. She got up and opened it. Inside was an old envelope decorated with golden patterns. "Whoa, this doesn't look like ordinary mail," she said in surprise, examining the letter. Unfolding the yellowed paper, she read aloud, "Only the brave will find the path to the truth. Follow the light of the stars." Attached to the letter was a map, and the castle was marked on it. Chelsea jumped up excitedly. "This is a sign. We need to go there." Ken smirked, looking at the map. "As long as we're not falling into some prankster's trap." Barbie firmly folded the letter and looked at her friends. "There's only one way to find out. We're going to the library." The library was almost empty, with only the elderly librarian, Mr. Winston, reading a newspaper at the counter. "Good afternoon, Mr. Winston," Barbie greeted him. "We need a book about the legends of Silverdale." The gray-haired man raised an eyebrow. "Legends, you say?" He folded his newspaper. "Well, if you're interested in the Vanishing Castle, try the rare books section." A few minutes later, Chelsea pulled out a large book titled Mysteries of the Vanished Places. "Here." She placed the book on the table and opened it. As Barbie flipped a page, a loud click echoed. The ground beneath them trembled, and suddenly, a hidden door opened in the floor. "This is incredible!" Ken exclaimed. "A real secret passage." Barbie took a deep breath, peering into the opening. "Well, are we ready for an adventure?" Chelsea was the first to descend the stone staircase, followed by Barbie and Ken. The tunnel was narrow and cool, with dim blue lights flickering along the walls. At the end of the tunnel, they found an old iron bridge stretching across a narrow gorge. Beyond it, the castle loomed like a mirage. "It's magical," Chelsea whispered, but as they took a step forward, the castle blurred slightly, as if it was starting to vanish. Inside the castle, deep silence reigned. The friends cautiously moved through the dusty corridors, lit by a faint glow. "Look." Chelsea pointed to an old chest against the wall. Barbie opened it and found a diary covered in cobwebs. She carefully flipped it open. "This castle remains in our world thanks to the Stone of Time. If it is not returned, it will disappear forever." Ken frowned. "So someone stole it?" At that moment, the walls of the castle trembled. "We're running out of time," Barbie exclaimed. Chelsea noticed a star engraved on the wall. "Follow the light of the stars," she recalled. Barbie pressed it, and suddenly, a secret compartment opened. Inside, a glowing blue stone shimmered with light. "That's it." Ken grabbed it and placed it in Barbie's hands. She carefully walked to the pedestal in the center of the hall and placed the stone into the slot. The castle shook, The light grew brighter, and the walls became solid again. We did it. Chelsea cheered. Barbie looked at her friends. But who sent us the letter? Ken gazed thoughtfully toward the exit. I guess we'll find out next time. Behind them, the castle stood unchanged, but all three knew the mysteries were just beginning. The moment Barbie returned the stone of time to the pedestal, the castle suddenly shuddered again. This can't be happening. Barbie stepped back as shadows began to creep along the walls. Chelsea clung to Ken. What is that? The shadows merged, forming a figure in a long cloak. A low, hissing voice echoed through the hall. You were not supposed to come here. Barbie gathered her courage and stepped forward. Who are you? What is happening to the castle? I am the guardian of time. The voice became firmer. Long ago, someone stole the stone of time, and since then, the castle has been teetering on the edge of disappearance. But now you have opened a door that should have remained closed. Ken stood beside Barbie. We just wanted to help. Help. The guardian laughed, and his voice echoed through the hall. Now you must prove you are worthy of keeping the castle in this world. The ceiling began to collapse. Run! Chelsea screamed. Barbie, Ken, and Chelsea ran for the exit. But the doors vanished. It's a trap! Ken shouted. The guardian slowly raised his hand, and from the floor, 3 glowing arches emerged. Before you lie 3 paths. One leads to safety, another to eternal oblivion, and the third, he smirked, leads to the one who once stole the stone. Barbie clenched her fists. We have to choose wisely. Chelsea stepped closer and noticed that each arch had a symbol. A clock with broken hands, an open book with flying pages, a key surrounded by light. I think I know. Chelsea gasped. Eleanor's diary. She wrote that the stone of time was lost because of the wrong choice. Barbie looked at the symbols, the book. It's connected to history. She stepped into the second arch, and the world spun around them. Barbie opened her eyes and saw a different castle. It was whole, new, shining in the sunlight. Where are we? Ken whispered in shock. Chelsea pointed ahead. Look. In the courtyard stood a young woman in a long dress, holding a chest. That's Eleanor. Barbie couldn't believe her eyes. They had traveled back in time, to the day the stone of time was stolen. We can change everything, Barbie said. But we have to find the thief before the castle disappears. The friends hid behind a column, watching Eleanor. She opened the chest, but at that moment, a shadowy figure darted through the castle's corridors. There he is, Ken whispered. Chelsea suddenly stumbled on a stone, her cry drawing attention. The figure ran. Barbie and Ken sprinted after the thief through the twisting corridors. He's heading for the underground tunnel, Ken shouted. Barbie ran faster, feeling the air grow heavier. We can't let him escape. They caught up to him on a bridge. But suddenly, the castle began to vanish. No, Chelsea cried. Barbie lunged forward, snatching the stone of time from the thief's hands. A brilliant light engulfed everything. When the light faded, the castle was whole again. Ken rubbed his temples. Did we come back? Chelsea clapped her hands. Yes. Look, the castle isn't disappearing anymore. The guardian reappeared, his voice softer. You have proven your worth. The castle will remain. Barbie smiled. We only did what was right. The guardian nodded. But remember, time is fragile. Use it wisely. Chelsea grinned. So, what's our next mystery? Barbie and Ken laughed. I think our adventures are just beginning.